Yle Areena.
Hello and welcome back once again to our All Points North on video series. This week my guests here in the studio are Alicia Iredale and Nerea Bartolome.
Hi.
You're both very, very welcome. Okay, I'll come back to our guests in just a second, but first let me explain to our viewers and to our listeners what we're going to be talking about here today. So I think it's fair to say that today's topic has a pretty scary reputation. I've seen it described as being an incomprehensible verbal jungle, like elf robots arguing about vowels. And of course, it's famously right up there with Japanese as one of the most difficult languages to learn for English speakers. I am, of course, referring to the Finnish language, where the letter P magically turns into a V, where there are 15 grammatical cases, and where there's an obsession with the phrase no niin, which seems to mean everything and at the same time nothing. So yeah, Finnish. When I first came to Finland over 20 years ago, I was actually told to not even bother to try to learn the language because it's far too difficult. But is it far too difficult? Is that scary reputation justified or is it overstated? So there's some of the questions that we hope to discuss and find answers for here today. So that brings me back to my guests. So Alicia, if I start with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, like where you're from and when you moved to Finland?
Yes, hi, my name's Alicia and I'm from England. I've lived in Finland now for almost 6 years and I moved here after meeting my partner. And then, we lived in England for a few years together and before moving to Finland. And I've worked here for a few years in my profession as a childcare worker. And now I am studying full-time a master's degree.
Okay, excellent. Nerea.
Hi, I'm Nerea and I came here from Spain almost 5 years ago.
Okay.
I came for work to build wind farms, so I moved straight to Lapland. And after 4 months there, I moved here to Helsinki to keep working. Then I quit. I tried to start a business. It didn't work out. Then I studied Finnish, and now I'm working again in construction for a Finnish company.
Okay, excellent. If I stay with you, Nerea, so before you made the decision to move to Finland for that first time and you first encountered the Finnish language, what were your first impressions?
Well, that's a nice question because I never decided to move here. So It's kind of Finland pushed me to come here. So it was really quickly, like in 2 weeks, I was landing here. So I didn't have enough time to make some research. But I read about the language being one of the most complicated, or if not the most complicated languages in the world. So I thought, I'm just going to be there 3 months. I'm not going to even try, blah, blah, blah. But this was 5 years ago.
Yeah. 3 months, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Alicia, what about your first impressions of Finnish?
So I knew for a while before moving to Finland that I would be moving here. So I kind of looked online at some basic Finnish activities and ways to learn, and the words were so confusing, especially the vowels that I didn't even know how to pronounce them. And the words were particularly long. I realized that Finnish uses compound words a lot. So in English, we would say, for example, social worker, and then in Finnish, they put it together, sosiaalityöntekijä. So when you see all these really big, long words, it's already quite daunting.
It is.
And no idea how to start pronouncing them. And when I did move to Finland, I was living with my partner's family. So I was hearing Finnish all day, every day, pretty much. But I wasn't understanding any of it. But that was the first few months before I went on to actively studying.
Okay. And anything that particularly shocked you, any word or phrase or anything about the language that you find particularly surprising?
Well, I couldn't hear that it was separate words. It just sounded like every time I heard it, it was just one continuous word, like a sentence. There was no one like stopping to pause and break in between words. So I was very confused with like what's like how to even understand.
Yeah.
Like how to even pick up on words to begin with.
Yeah. Where's the space between?
Yeah, it just sounds like one blah 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 sound. Now I can hear like quite well, but
yeah. Norea, what was the most surprising or shocking thing for you when you first encountered the Finnish language?
Well, the first months in the north, I learned how to say thank you, kiitos. But at first, I didn't say kiitos. I said kiitos. So my colleagues were like, "It's not kiitos, it's kiitos because it's double e." So I was like, "Okay, so you have to double pronounce it." And then in the next upcoming months, the only thing that I could hear was "nani," blah 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 blah. Nani.
Yeah.
And then I was like, "What is nani?" And everyone was like, "It's everything." So I was like, okay, then I know Finnish already.
Yeah, a very useful one, very versatile. But okay, so you both kind of, before you encountered Finnish, like it was a little bit sort of intimidating maybe, and then when you first encounter it, like those long words, like you said, it can be even more intimidating again. But what do you think about this reputation that Finnish has as being like impossible to learn, or like I mentioned in the intro about one of the most difficult languages to learn? Okay, it has that reputation, but does that have kind of advantages or disadvantages, or how do you see it? Norea, maybe if I start with you.
Well, if we are like honest, it's complicated. It is, but it will be as complicated as you want it to be. So if your baseline is I will not make it, then you're right. If you think that you can make it, then you are also right. But what I've heard a lot of times in social media is even we Finns, we do not use properly the Finnish language. So don't be scared of just trying and make mistakes. That's how you will learn. And that's true. So it is hard because it is, but it's also like a grateful language because the little amount that you put into trying, you will see the rewards. So I think it's quite rewarding, at least trying.
Okay. Alicia, what do you think about the Finnish language's reputation?
Yeah, I think that thinking it's impossible is just not helpful for anybody, because if you believe something is impossible, then why would you even bother trying, right? So I know it is very complicated, and I still struggle. Every time I speak Finnish, I make mistakes, but I am communicating, I'm getting a point across, I'm having conversations with people. And if I just believed that, oh, it's impossible, I'm never going to get there, then I wouldn't be at the point I am now. And sometimes it is still overwhelming because there's like you come across a new rule or grammatical case that you're not even sure about. And it's very tricky and makes you think all over again, like, oh my God, how do I deal with this now? But it's like building blocks. You just have to keep building on it and take it one step at a time.
Okay. Yes, indeed. But a lot of people actually, I think, choose not to do that, or maybe are put off by the scary reputation that Finnish has. But we hear an awful lot that you don't actually need Finnish in Finland, that you can get by with English. I'm sure you've heard this. But what do you think about that idea?
I think it depends on individual circumstances at first. Like if you move here for a job and it's an English-speaking job, then you don't need it for your employment. But like it's not just about work here. It's about integrating, independence, feeling like you are a part of society. And it comes down to the little things like understanding a conversation that's happening like nearby, or if someone's in the street asking for help, direction somewhere, and they don't speak English, like these little parts make up the day, and being able to communicate in Finnish, it just feels so like rewarding inside that you can feel like a part of society and not like everyone has to accommodate for you by like switching to English, or if they don't speak English, they have to get somebody else to help. But then especially if you don't have work in English, then it can really increase the employment possibilities if you have Finnish. Like that's a great skill to have. And it doesn't have to be perfect advanced Finnish. There are plenty of jobs where you can get by with Finnish.
Yeah.
It is still difficult, of course, but
get by with English.
To get a job, even if you have Finnish skills. But yeah, it's a great thing to have.
Yeah, the key kind of to integration, I guess, to some level. But Neri, what do you think about that idea that you don't need Finnish in Finland?
Well, it is true that here in Finland, mostly of the people speak in English. So not everyone. When I lived in the north, that was not 100% of the cases, but you can communicate with English. To me, learning Finnish or the language of the country that you are trying to integrate into is a show of respect. So to me, it's at least showing like, hey, I'm here, I'm from abroad, I'm an immigrant, but I'm kind of trying to understand you from the inside. And in my opinion, what I've learned these years that I've been trying to learn the language is that through the language, you can also learn the culture, because Finnish language is also like quite related to the Kalevala. So for example, at work, I like to talk to my coworker about Kalevala and some terms. Yeah, it's kind of freak thing, but it's really funny. And it's true that when you understand a little bit of Finnish, it's easier to also relate those words to the mythology and where those words come from. So you are also participating of the culture through the language. However, I also think that when we try to speak in Finnish, but we are beginners and our level is quite basic, and we got stuck into something, the other person instantly switches to English. So it's like, I cannot keep developing my level. But yeah, they are so grateful of you trying to learn the language, but they also help you with not getting stuck by speaking in English, and that's not quite helpful either. But
we might come back to that a little bit later. But how do you interpret it when Finnish people do that? What do you think that they're saying or doing in those cases?
Oh, they are trying to help. Yeah, they might be seeing that you are feeling uncomfortable because they know that it's hard, they know that it's complicated, and you are suffering. You are like, and they try to help you.
Yeah,
but. For example, for us, maybe sometimes feels like, I'm not good enough.
Yeah, I hear it a lot that people, I think, misinterpret that act of switching to English as being like insulting maybe or something, but I think it's comes from politeness maybe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I want to move on, or that brings us on to social media, because for me, this has really been very interesting to see how much attention the learning of Finnish language is getting on social media in recent years, as you both are very well aware. But you both have started accounts sharing your experiences with learning Finnish, and it's really seemed to resonate with a lot of people. But could you tell us just a bit of background about sort of why you started the account, how it grew, what you think about it now? Alicia?
Yes, I had my account already about 5 years, so I was posting things more about just Finland in general and life here. But then about a year ago, I decided to start posting videos of me speaking Finnish and learning Finnish and pondering like the complexities of the language and like the humorous things about rules and literal translations and things. And the main idea was I felt really frustrated with my level of Finnish, and I wanted to practice more in a way that would kind of hold me accountable, like show up.
Yeah.
And if other people are seeing that, they'll notice, like, am I like continuing to practice? So it was more so for that and kind of like a language learning diary as such. And when I started posting videos about these topics, like they went really viral. I did not expect it. I thought there'd just be like maybe a few hundred people watching me like learn this weird language. And yeah, in over a year, or like about a year, I've had over 80,000 followers join me on this language learning journey. And the biggest shock is that 75% of them are Finnish followers.
Right.
So they are so interested in seeing somebody learn the language and pick out things that we think are weird or funny or interesting. So it's kind of making the struggles more visible to people as well, but also using humour to make it more fun. And I feel like a lot of other learners can relate to the struggles and things, and it helps them also.
Yeah, I think so. We'll come back to that in a minute. But Nare, can you tell us about your own social media journey?
Yeah, I never planned to start. Here in Finland, I have never planned anything. So I didn't plan to come. I didn't plan to start on social media. I just go with the flow.
But here we are. Yeah.
Here we are. So I started the integration course. So I arrived the first day and I arrived late. So the teacher was welcoming me in Finnish and I told her, oh, sorry, I'm in the ground class. She asked me my name in Finnish. I suppose that she was asking me my name and I tell Nerea, yeah, you're here, come. No. You're speaking in Finnish. It's my first day. I have no idea about Finnish. So that first day I arrived home like, what am I doing here? Everyone knows a lot of Finnish. I do not know. I don't know how. I don't have anyone to practice with. So that day I was crying at home, scrolling on social media, and I saw a girl that I wish I could know who she was because she inspired me a lot. She was trying to speak in Finnish.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, what if I try? I have 0 followers, 0 following. I have nothing. I have nothing to lose. Let's try. So I made a video of a meme in Finnish with 2 characters. So just a couple hours after that, it had like 10 likes. I was like, well, I've tried. And I was this close to go to sleep. I checked the video again. 6,000 likes. I was like, bro.
6,000 likes?
Yeah, what's going on?
Oh
yeah, so I was like, okay, I've done something. I don't know what I'm doing, but I feel okay because I'm exposing the humanity of my process. I'm not perfect. I'm just trying to expose my fears, my failures, my everything. And I think that showing that vulnerability on social media, on the process of learning or integrating, is what makes the process easier because even through screen, you feel that you're not alone.
Okay. Yeah. Is that what you would both think kind of resonates with people the most? Or what do you think kind of goes viral and gets people's attention?
In my opinion, I think because I've always tried to twist the language into something funny. So I think that what resonates to people is like, how do you get to those conclusions about the language? How do you switch the words to make this kind of not understandable language at all? And also because I use different characters, it also creates like this empathy. Like sometimes I love the language, sometimes I hate it, but yet here we are. So those different point of views in the same video, I think that are kind of catchy to the people that are going through the same process.
Okay. Alicia, what do you think catches people?
I think when I try to simplify like the explanations of grammar or something like that, like going through a topic, it's really hard actually fitting something into a like 2.5-3 minute video. But I try to use examples to explain kind of what my thought process is and how to learn this certain rule. And like I thought it's going to be really boring to people, but I get so many messages and comments like, oh my gosh, that just makes so much sense, you explained it so well. And they, like other learners, find it really useful, the things that I talk about there. And sometimes I will like ponder on something and say like, why does Finnish do this? Like, are they just trying to make it harder? And like kind of in a light-hearted way. So saying it's not so serious kind of thing. And I think also, like I said, most of the comments are from Finnish people and they're just like, wow, I never thought of that way before. Like you're teaching me so much about my own language. And they are also understanding kind of why it's so difficult for learners learning Finnish because, they're like, wow, I didn't realise it was so complicated.
Yeah.
The feeling of here we are all suffering together.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously social media gets a lot of, negative criticism, but it seems like in this space, it is of benefit to people, both as learners or both of you as the content creators and to people who view the videos are viewed, the content? Or what do you think, like, can you see that it has advantages, or what advantages do you think that it has?
Yeah, I think that first of all, the fact that someone through the screen is seeing that, okay, I'm not alone suffering, that creates
Yeah.
like some sort of relief. And also because in the videos, you are also sharing your point of view or the way that you are processing the information. So that can also help to other people. For us, or at least I will speak for myself, it helped me to lose the fear of trying because I was exposing myself. So I was just like, okay, I will try. Social media is helping me. But at the same time, it became my worst enemy. Because not because of the comments, because I have always received a lot of support, but because at some point someone was like, oh, you're a great teacher, or some teachers were writing me like, I'm using your videos with my students, and I was like, no, please, no, don't do that. I'm studying. So
Okay.
I became a bit not comfortable with just showing that much because I am no one to teach anyone. So, but at least it was funny.
Okay.
I can resonate with that also. I do have to sometimes put a disclaimer, like saying that there might be some errors with how I'm explaining something, because I'm trying to take the approach of like learn with me kind of thing. But then people message me and ask like, can I book a lesson with you? And I'm like, I'm not in a position to teach. Anyway, but going back to what you said, I have also received mostly positive feedback. I do get some comments like, oh, you need to practice pronouncing this letter or this sound. And it's like, okay, yeah, thanks, I know. Like, I also ask a lot for corrections so I can build upon, and I'm very open to that. But there are other creators who post videos of them speaking Finnish, and they do get quite a lot of negative feedback, especially if they have a strong accent.
Right.
And people are in the comments like, whoa, you're pronouncing that so wrong. Like, you need to practice before you start sharing videos and things like that. And that is quite sad to see, because they are being brave, like putting something out there and trying to develop their language. And the only way we can develop is by speaking and by practicing. So I just hope that those people are not taking it too much to heart. And like, basically, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't comment. Like, nobody's forcing you to watch that video. If you don't like it, just scroll past.
Absolutely. Yeah. A lot of people could benefit from listening to that advice, unfortunately. But just on social media, and if I can say that you're kind of Instagram famous, what's it like to be kind of Instagram famous in Finland? Do any odd, strange, interesting things happen? No, Rhea?
Well, it happens to me if I go to some place, especially where all the Spanish speaker community is. Yeah, at first it was shocking to me, like, why all these people know me if I don't know who you are? But then I feel that it's kind of like a hack, because you are offering from yourself, your experience, not because your experience is better than any other experience, but because it makes you feel okay. But people also feel okay with that, and they are super grateful for that. So I've been in a couple situations like I went to Tampere. I had never been in Tampere, and then one guy came to me like, I've seen your videos, and I'm like, I've never been here. Why you know me? But it's super nice. I love talking to people, and I actually sometimes receive messages like, I have seen you on the tram, but I was scared of approaching to you. And I'm like, no, please come, because I love talking to people and I learn a lot from people. So to me, it's like I could have never imagined to come this far on social media, but I'm super grateful for that. And I would not change none of my path here in Finland.
Okay, well, Alicia.
Well, that's so nice to hear.
Your experience of being...
Yeah, well, just on the way here, I took a taxi to the train station, and the taxi driver said he's seen my videos on Instagram, because he's also learning Finnish. He's lived here a few years, and yeah, I get that quite often, that when I'm out and about, people will say, hey, great work, keep it up.
Nice.
And it's very positive, and it is a really nice feeling, but also a very strange feeling that people know me who I don't know. And like sometimes you do start to wonder when you're somewhere just minding your own business, like, oh, is anybody watching me? Because you do see people sometimes looking and they don't say anything, but then they'll message you like, hey, I saw you on the bus today. I'm the same. Like I'm fine with people saying hi in public, and it's always nice to hear, because the first time I was spotted, like I was in a sauna in Helsinki with my friend. It was some summer day, and there was like quite a few people then just in the sauna chatting with my friend, and then there was someone started crossing. She's like, oh my god, are you that Instagram lady? And I was like, I guess so. And she's like, no way, I met you, I just came from the States. She's a Finnish teacher in the States teaching Finnish, and she says that she's used my videos with her students, and she's like, now I get to meet you and thank you in person for everything you do. And I'm like, wow, like that's insane. It's really hard to wrap my head around. But very positive.
That's good. Yeah, really nice. But just on that point, because you mentioned it earlier as well about the kind of interest that Finnish people have in foreigners learning Finnish. If we get into the psychology of the average Finn, what do you think? Where does that come from? Why do you think Finnish people are so interested in watching how people are learning the language? Lisa?
I think because it's like Finland is a very small country in terms of population. Their language is not widely spoken. So, and they know it takes a lot to learn Finnish, and that a lot of people do use English here and don't really bother to learn or learn some Finnish, but kind of don't use it actively. So they really respect when somebody is learning Finnish and speaking. And I just think people have this really positive view of immigrants who speak Finnish and know that they're kind of like trying their best. They understand how hard it is. So I think that's probably the biggest reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that Finns are quite attracted to this kind of content because they can feel the pain of the language, and they also in some way, I feel, because of comments that I've read, that they admire people that try, because then other people they comment like, why are you even trying? Like, I admire you, you are trying, but why? You don't need it, just speak in English. Why are you trying?
Like I was told on day one.
So that's like a thing that I would like to spot, that they admire and they are really grateful for that. And it's also entertaining, because once you start trying to detect the non-logic things of Finnish language, you cannot stop. So it's like they want to know more of those things because they live the language from the inside. So when they see someone speaking from the outside, they go like, I would have never thought about it that way.
Okay.
So they also learn.
Yeah, for sure. Well, staying with Finnish people then, is there anything that you would both like to see, if we say Finnish society, Finnish people, Finnish authorities, Finland in general, do or change that would kind of help people who move here to better learn the language, or say one thing that you would like to see in the future? Narea.
Well, from my experience, I have taken the integration course. To me, that was one of the best stages of my life here in Finland. Once you start the process, it is super easy to keep going with it, and it's really well organized. It is also true that I learned about this integration course because of a friend. But if she never told me anything, I would have never known that this exists. So it exists, but it's quite complicated to get there. And during the process, we receive a lot of help and support. We have internships, everything. But once you got the job, what happens? You are a bit on air, and there's not like following up on how you are doing, because as we have said, the language is not just enough, because of course you can get a job, but just because you speak the language you are not having the same opportunities as you could have in your home country because you don't have that level.
Yeah.
So there's not like a following up of if you are feeling integrated only if you speak the language.
You're right.
So, and I also read that there's like a study that says that a third part of the immigrants that got the certificate of the language, they move out of Finland 1 year after getting the certificate, which makes me think that only the language is not enough.
For sure. So basically that the sort of the integration services should continue, not that once you hit this certain point, then you're out on your own, basically. Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Alicia, what do you think?
I think that's a really interesting point because I also did the integration course. It was 1 year of learning Finnish full time and attending 2 work practices, and I actually got my job through doing that. And I think that's a great basis for learning the Finnish language and culture as well, and being able to use the language in practice. However, there are some issues with accessibility, that it's not kind of available for everyone. There's like certain requirements on how long you've lived in Finland and if you're already working or something. So I think there should be kind of equal opportunity for everybody. And like you said, some kind of follow-up, because it's not enough that you just get the job and then that's it. Because a lot of people struggle with loneliness here as well, and actually understanding Finnish culture and how to kind of integrate here. But another thing I read was that I think next year they're introducing this kind of work-based training for immigrants with the language, so that, because in the current integration training, learning the basic language is not really enough for working life necessarily, but now they're introducing this kind of work-based language training, which I think will be really useful.
Okay, that would be your one change you would like to see.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And of course, there has been a lot of talk in recent years that English should be added to Finland's list of official languages, alongside, well, there's Finnish, Swedish, and Sami. But what do you think about that idea, Alicia?
It would make it easier for immigrants for sure if they speak English, but what then happens to kind of the motivation for learning Finnish? If you can attend school in English and do all kinds of, like, everything you need in English, then I feel like people are not going to put in the effort to learn Finnish. It is really hard. Like, why would most people choose to do something really hard when they can choose the easier path of sticking to English?
Yeah.
But I do worry, like, for the identity of Finland, that if Finnish is not kept as like the main language to do communications in, and with increasing immigration here, like, what happens to the use of the language? I think it's really important to keep Finnish as like of course it's the predominant language, but if we introduce English more and more and more, then people might just give up trying to learn Finnish.
Yeah. They follow the path of least resistance, I guess. If they can. Norea, what do you think about the idea of English becoming an official language?
Yeah, I also think that the language is a part of the culture that, of course, you have to defend to keep the language because it's part of how you are defining your culture. It is also true that I've seen kids, like 2 years old kids, that they speak English perfectly. And so I think that even if it's not considered one of the main spoken languages, it actually is. So, but I also understand the feeling of wanting to preserve Finnish as the identity of the language in Finland. Also, time changes everything, and even my colleagues at work, they tell me that now, at least here in the south or the Helsinki area, the Finnish that young people speak is a hybrid of Finnish and English. So we are starting to already see those mixes of languages. So somehow it's starting to happen. But Finnish, of course, it's the identity of Finland.
Yeah. Okay, I've one last question for you both before we wrap up. So, what one bit of advice would you give to somebody that was just about to start on their Finnish language learning journey? What would you say to them? Norea, if I start with you.
I would say take it easy. It will take time, or maybe it will not, but don't take it personal if at first it's not what you think, because for sure it will not be what you think. So here you have two options. If you put yourself into a negative mindset, it will be worse than what you expected. But if you open your mind, you will also find surprises.
Okay, excellent.
Very nice.
Alicia, what would be your one piece of advice?
I would say please don't learn Finnish just from a textbook, because so many people will just take a textbook and learn that way, and there is a lot of beginners don't know about spoken Finnish versus written Finnish.
Yes, indeed.
And they get so fixed on the written Finnish from like the books, and then they don't understand anything anyone is saying, because there's these different levels of the language. So I'd say to read about what spoken Finnish is and then expose yourself to spoken Finnish. So listen to podcasts on radio, watch TV, listen to conversations going on around you. Don't just stick to the book. Yes.
Excellent piece. Two excellent pieces of advice to wrap up our show. Thank you both very much. Before we go, I have to say a huge thank you to you both for coming in today and for sharing your ideas and your insights and your experience with us all.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you were great. I should say a big thank you also to the team behind the scenes of creating this episode of All Points North. It's Tuomas Vauhkonen, Matias Puumala, Matthew Schilke and Hannah Anderson in particular. They've been great. And I also want to thank you, our All Points North audience, for listening to and watching this show. We're going to be back again in 2 weeks in audio format, and the video podcast will be back again in May. So until then, bye for now.